that on 12 News Company on the Move. 12 News confirms A New Hope business plans to close and relocate out of state. Plus, challenging times for our feathered friends.
Some of the early migrants that did come up are having a hard time.
How our prolonged winter is giving birds hunger pains. But first, the trial begins for a man accused of a Brooklyn Park triple murder. 12 News starts right now. The trial has begun for a Missouri man accused of killing 3 people in a Brooklyn Park home.
Eddie Mosley was indicted on 9 counts of first-degree murder for the shooting deaths of Delois Brown and her parents, James and Clover Bolden. Renee Bonneau was in court today, and she joins us now with the latest. Renee?
Mike and Alex, typically a trial would begin with jury selection, but at a hearing last Tuesday, Mosley waived his right to a jury trial. Now his fate is in the hands of Judge Todrick Barnett. Without speaking about this case in particular, Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman told us defendants often opt out of jury trials in what he calls more horrific cases.
They believe that, rightly or wrongly, that judges can view facts a little less passionately than jurors can.
In opening statements, the prosecution said that while the human carnage was unspeakable, the evidence will speak loudly and clearly that the murders were premeditated. On the morning of April 9th last year, the bodies of Delois Brown and her parents were discovered in the home that was also a daycare. A woman who had just dropped her son off early that morning noticed a suspicious man on a bike near the home. She called to alert Brown, who answered the phone and appeared to be in a struggle with someone before the line went dead. The woman returned to the home to find 3 adults shot to death. Her son was okay. According to the criminal complaint, days before the murders, Eddie Mosley had been charged with sexually assaulting his teenage niece. He told the child's mother to make the charges go away, and she refused. The document stated Mosley knew the girl used to go to Brown's in-home daycare in the mornings. What he didn't know was that routine had changed. The prosecution said Mosley traveled to Minnesota to kill the girl and Delois Brown. Instead, he fatally shot Brown, James Bolden, and Clover Bolden twice in the head.
In this particular case, as we cited in the complaint, 5 of the 6 shots fired were impact fired. To wit, he was pulling the gun against the hand of grandparents and pulled the trigger. That's pretty ugly stuff.
The prosecution said it will use witness testimony as well as security footage from a Brooklyn Park gas station to prove Eddie Mosley was responsible for the murders. Mosley's defense attorney said he will argue Mosley had no motive to harm Brown and her parents, and prosecutors do not have physical evidence, no gun, bike, fingerprints, or DNA to prove Mosley was in Minnesota on the morning of the murders. Mike?
All right, thank you very much. Well, challenging times for A New Hope media company. Navarre Corporation has notified the state of plans to lay off nearly 150 employees. The company also said in the notice that it plans to close its New Hope facility and relocate out of state. According to the notice sent to the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, Navarre will start letting employees go in June. Navarre distributes and publishes entertainment media. Well, some people say our winter-like weather is for the birds, but really it's not.
Sonia Goen shows us how Mother Nature is causing problems for our feathered friends.
You might call them angry birds. It's cold and the food is very limited.
If we're still getting snow into May, that could be a problem.
Our extended winter is causing some birds to hold off on their annual trip up north.
The winter-like spring is slowing down some of the birds. Some of the migrants that normally come up are kind of waiting down in Iowa and Missouri till we warm up a little bit. Some of the migrants, some of the warblers we normally see now haven't shown up yet.
And those who do show up sometimes don't make it.
Some of the birds like purple martins and tree swallows, we have had minor mortality as far as the birds that have gotten here have died.
And the early bird doesn't always get the worm. Birds that are showing up now are having a hard time getting food.
Some of the migrants feed on insects, and there aren't many insects out now.
Some birds are also modifying their diets. Birds that would normally eat insects or worms are now eating tree buds, or they're turning to bird feeders.
Very surprised.
Tammy Beek likes watching the birds and has seen a change in their behavior.
We've seen a bunch of robins, and they've been eating off of our crabapple tree. Not something they would normally do. Usually see them eating worms a lot.
And the winter-like weather is also affecting waterfowl, like ducks and geese.
If they had laid a partial clutch of eggs, some of those eggs might have frozen over the last few days. So they'll still have a clutch of eggs later in the year, but some of the eggs might not hatch.
Meanwhile, some of our winter birds are sticking around a little longer.
Some of the northern birds that normally migrate, that spend the winter here and migrate up into Canada, are still here. They haven't left yet, whereas most springs they might have already moved.
Thankfully, experts say no need to worry about our feathered friends. Things will work out in the end.
The birds will be fine.
In Plymouth, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
Experts say if you're feeding the birds right now, continue to do so, but it really wouldn't help to put out a bird feeder right now because it would take a while before the birds could find the feeder.
Local community college launched a week of environmentally friendly activities with a bang. More than 200 students and faculty members packed the Grand Hall at North Hennepin Community College to kick off Earth Week. The theme for this year's celebration is Building Sustainable Communities. Organizers hope that by raising awareness this week, they'll be able to inspire lasting change.
Right now, the average American is using resources as if we had 4 planets. So it's really important that our students and our community are aware that we have just one planet and that we need to treat that planet with greater respect.
North Hennepin also has other events this week aimed at educating the student body about how to build sustainable communities.
4 local high schools are considered among the most challenging in the country. According to the Washington Post, Armstrong High School is the most challenging high school in the northwest suburbs. The Washington Post based its rankings on the number of college-level courses taken by graduating seniors last year. Wayzata was the next highest in our area, followed by Hopkins and Cooper. According to the criteria, the most challenging high school in Minnesota was Minneapolis Southwest High School, followed by St. Louis Park. Coming up, a guy nicknamed Slim who doesn't want to let you go hungry.
That's coming up next in Business Matters. Then later in sports, as we near the end of April, many spring sports teams have barely been outside.
But first, an AccuWeather forecast out of the twilight zone. Slushy snow tonight into Tuesday morning. Then listen to this. Temperatures approach 70 this weekend. If you're thinking about buying a car, you're not alone. New car sales last month were the highest in years. Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, Toyota, and Nissan all reported a bump in March sales. Some reported the best monthly sales since December of 2007. According to the Kelley Blue Book, the average price of a new automobile right now, $31,200.
Brooklyn Park is expected to get a new restaurant. Fiesta Cancun Mexican Grill and Bar plans to open at Edinburgh Plaza, located east of Highway 252. The new restaurant would fill a space that used to be Carboni's Pizza. The owner hopes to open May 1st if she receives council approval. By the way, the Planning Commission did recommend approval, noting that Brooklyn Park residents have expressed a desire for more restaurants. Well, now, we all know the benefits of eating healthy, but sometimes you have to answer your cravings too.
That's right, and by cravings, we're talking a burger and fries, wings, or a good cheesesteak sandwich. Enter in Slim's Restaurant in Brooklyn Center, a new fast casual place. That's the focus of this week's Business Matters.
Being on Brooklyn Boulevard, we get a pretty consistent traffic.
Once home to a Starbucks coffee, there's a new place along Brooklyn Boulevard to satisfy cravings.
Our chicken wings are by far our signature item here.
Opened in February, Slim's is a fast casual place for wings and fries,
One of our more popular items is our gyros as well.
a cheesesteak sandwich, a gyro, or even a pizza. It's a menu filled with foods that owner Omar Abu Sunene craves too.
It's just my taste, yeah. If it's on the menu, I think I like it, so that's how it works here.
A 2004 Park Center graduate, Omar's new business reflects his childhood nickname growing up in Brooklyn Center.
Well, even though they call me slim, I gained some weight over the years, eating this food, so nothing slim about it is what I like to say.
It may not be the most slimming foods, but that's not to be mistaken for poor quality. The steak is sliced daily, the gyro meat is roasted on the spit, and few foods are frozen.
A lot of these items, we make all from scratch, so we take a lot of pride in, fresh ingredients, really top-of-the-line ingredients. It's a combination of beef and lamb.
Physically around here, this is about the only place you can get them. So it's good, different from your typical burger joint or other fast food joints.
Timothy Olson comes back for the gyro.
Been here about 3 times, so it's just down the road from work, so it's good.
There are those foods you crave, and this Brooklyn Center business has the fix.
Families feel comfortable here, young people do, as well as older people, so I think it's kind of nice.
Slim's originally opened up as a small takeout place in New Hope in 2011 before expanding to the current location in Brooklyn Center. Coming up, a new place for entertainment in Maple Grove.
Well, this entertainment is probably something you haven't seen before. But first in sports, Armstrong's girls lacrosse team aims for another big season. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back. Such a strange season for high school athletes. They're going to go from preseason practice to playoffs with no real season in between.
Seems like that, doesn't it? Yeah, the season's getting shorter and shorter by the day. We thought the spring high school sports season was short before, but how about this year? Section playoffs and some activities start in just over 3 weeks, and hardly a game or a match or meet has been played yet. Earlier today, I sat down with John Millay from the Minnesota State High School League to talk about spring sports 2013.
This is unlike anything, John, and I've talked to people who go back 40, maybe 50 years. Nobody can remember anything like this, and let's hope we never, ever see anything like this again.
I talked with Osseo Activities Director Ray Kirch on their baseball field 3 weeks ago, and he was talking about that field being unplayable. Here we are, almost the last week in April.
Yeah.
It's still not playable, and
No.
now you get from it's kind of an annoyance to panic mode, I would think, at
I
some
think so.
schools.
Yeah, I think everybody's feeling has been, okay, once we get rolling here, we're going to play a lot of games in a short period of time. But when are we going to get rolling? That's the thing. And the fields, if there's frost in the ground, you got to wait. Schools that have artificial turf, the Minnetonka baseball field, that's the busiest place on earth. Everybody wants to get there and play. But and every sport's a little different. The golf teams, God bless the golf teams. I don't know what they're going to do. Some of those teams, especially up north, they will hardly have played before it's time for subsection and section tournaments. So I think it's a matter of when, but we just don't know when, and we haven't for so long now.
We cover sports just here in the northwest suburbs, but you look at the northern part of the state, how are they doing for spring sports in some of their fields?
Yeah, it's a disaster. We think it's bad here. You go up north and there's nothing going on. I've talked to ADs, from Crookston to Thief River Falls across the Iron Range, and they're worried about just completely losing some of their spring sports.
From a league point of view, what can the league do other than offer suggestions and playing Saturday games, doubleheaders, things like that?
Right. On our social media, Twitter and Facebook, there have been a lot of questions. Can we stretch the seasons out? Can we move the state tournaments back? And we really can't because all the facilities are rented. If you move the state tournaments back, then the section tournaments, all the facilities for those have to be changed, and it's a logistical nightmare, so that can't happen. It's too bad. Even if you're eliminated in your section tournament, no matter what sport, you can keep playing games until the end of the state tournament. Some teams may just decide if their kids want to do it, let's just get, just throw together some more games and just play. You can do that. I think we've encouraged teams, baseball, softball, play as many doubleheaders as you can. And the National Federation has kind of granted us an exemption. You can play 5-inning games. So you can play a doubleheader with 2 5-inning games and they'll count just because of these circumstances.
You can see the rest of my interview with John Millay this week on Sports Jam. It airs through Wednesday at 3:38 and 10:30 p.m. here on Channel 12. The girls lacrosse team at Armstrong High School is coming off a solid season in 2012, and they're aiming to match that success this spring. The Falcons were 13-3 overall and tied for the Northwest Suburban Conference title with Champlin Park and Coon Rapids last spring. They advanced to the Section 6 semifinals. They have some good experienced returners and a lot of newcomers with athletic ability.
Well, we have a lot of new girls that are very athletic, and it's really nice to see that much heart coming out for the game. So I think we're going to have a good year this year, hopefully. We graduated a couple good people last year, but we also have a lot of new people coming out.
It's brought us in a lot of new girls, and everyone knows around Armstrong, you want to be on the lacrosse team because they're the winners at Armstrong.
Armstrong has managed to get one match in so far, losing an 18-5 decision to defending state champion Blake. With more schools adding the sport, lacrosse has expanded from 4 playoff sections to 8, instantly improving Armstrong's chances of reaching the state tournament.
Well, part of it's already happened. They've gone to an 8-section state tournament this year, and we've escaped Eden Prairie. So that's addition by subtraction if you really look at it.
Well, obviously you don't want to revert back to a record worse than 13-3, which is ours last year, but I would say sky's the limit, so state championship.
Armstrong scheduled to play at Coon Rapids Wednesday and Centennial Friday. And it's supposed to be nice by Friday, so we'll see.
Thanks a lot,
Yeah.
John. Still ahead, a Maple Grove movie theater turns into something unusual and unique.
And Delane Cleveland shows us what WhirlyBall is all about when we come back.
What do you get when you combine basketball, hockey, lacrosse, bumper cars, and an old movie theater?
Good question. The answer is WhirlyBall. It's an extreme sport making its Twin Cities debut today in Maple Grove. And that's where Delane Cleveland is and joins us to tell us more about how it works.
Mike and Alex, I'm here in Maple Grove at the site of the old Mann Cinema, which has been converted to WhirlyBall Twin Cities. Today they're celebrating their grand opening, and joining me here is owner Nick Lambrecht to tell me a little bit more about what WhirlyBall is. So yes, question, WhirlyBall, what are we talking about here? What is this?
Basically a combination of basketball, lacrosse, and hockey played in bumper cars.
Is this something that's easy to do? I mean, it's something I've never really heard of this. So
Most people have never, never heard of it and certainly never tried it. Takes a couple minutes to get used to, but most people find that they get the hang of it pretty quick.
Is this something that really all ages could do? I mean, it doesn't sound too difficult. I guess you just have to, flick your wrist here and then try to hit a goal?
Yep, pretty much. So it's you have to be 4.5 feet tall to play. That works out usually about 11 or 12 years old, and there's no maximum age. It's really, very popular for adults, not just for kids. So it's a lot of fun.
I was going to say the facility is a little bit more than just a WhirlyBall facility. It looks like there's other things that you could do here as well.
Yeah, it's a complete sports bar and grill. And then we have 2 WhirlyBall courts and a laser tag, which is under construction right now and should be open in about a month.
And for adults, they can get some nice beverages here too.
Yep. We have a full bar and beer, wine, and liquor. And then, like I said, the full sports bar menu, homemade pizzas, burgers, wings, all the appetizers.
Not worried about anyone getting a little bit, having one too many and then going in here?
Oh, well, they're bumper cars after all, so can't do too much damage to each other.
Cool. All right. Thank you so much, Nick, joining us here at WhirlyBall Twin Cities. Now I'm going to play a little bit myself. Mike and Alex, back to you.
And did he make it? We don't know. For more information on hours and cost of WhirlyBall, you can go to whirlyballtwincities.com. And I have seen those in other cities, but I never knew what it was.
That's right.
Now.
We're going to say Delane made it too.
Yeah, we'll say he
definitely
made
made it.
That's it for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow.